Y'all already know. Y'all already know. The takeover. The takeover. Caitlin Clark shutting it down once again at the Annika. Record-breaking numbers, as we knew would.
Man, you already know what time it is. Caitlin Clark just did something that has the entire sports world losing their minds. We're not talking about basketball this time. No, this is different. This is about a 35-foot putt that sent shockwaves through the golf community and proved once and for all that this woman isn't just a basketball player. She's a
down, man. She showed the star power that she has. She had the golf course, the electricity was there. It was lit. You had everybody was going live, trying to stream the golf. Like it was a must-see event because
full-blown cultural phenomenon. And the numbers, they're absolutely insane. We're talking Tiger Woods level insanity, maybe even bigger. The WNBA had their chance and completely fumbled it. But the LPGA, they saw the vision. They rolled out the red carpet and got rewarded with attendance numbers that jumped.
Caitlin Clark took her talents to the golf course just a couple days ago, and it was a great success. It was a major story that everyone was talking about. Everyone was tuned in. And what?
1,200%. Yes, you heard that right. 1,200%. So buckle up, because what went down at the Annika Pro-Am in Florida is about to change the way we think about crossover athletes forever. Caitlin Clark showed up at Pelican Golf Club, and it wasn't just a casual celebrity appearance. This woman brought
What do you know? We got to take a look at this here. This was put up by Beth Ann Nichols. It says, how big is Caitlin Clark on the LPGA? Last year,
energy that turned a quiet golf tournament into an absolute spectacle. The buzz was electric. Fans were going live on every platform imaginable. People who'd never watched a single minute of LPGA golf were suddenly tuning in, streaming, commenting, sharing. It was a full-on takeover. And here's the thing that separates legends from everyone else. It's not what...
According to media data tracked by Gamebridge, there were 395 television segments that mentioned Caitlin Clark and the Annika. On the Pro-Am day alone, there were...
happens on game day. It's what happens when nobody's watching. The preparation, the mindset, the mentality that pushes you beyond your comfort zone. And Caitlin Clark, she'd been preparing for this moment in the most exclusive way possible. Let me take you back a few days before the tournament. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time,
2,693 posts on X mentioning Caitlin Clark playing in the Pro-Am that generated 241,000 engagements and 18 million.
Just invite anyone to his private sanctuary. We're talking about Grove 23, his ultra-exclusive golf course tucked away in Hobe Sound, Florida. This isn't some celebrity photo op spot where influencers show up for selfies and champagne. No way. This is where empires are built. This is where legends sharpen their edge. And Jordan brought Caitlin Clark into that world for a very specific reason. He saw something in her that reminded him of himself. That rare combination of talent, drive, and the ability to transcend your sport. Grove 23 is Jordan's masterpiece. 18 championship holes designed to perfection. A state-of-the-art clubhouse. A learning center that could rival any professional facility. And a practice range where every detail matters. They even have drones delivering refreshments. Everything about the place screams excellence. But Clark wasn't there to work on her golf swing. That's what makes this whole story so fascinating. Jordan wasn't teaching her how to hit a ball. He was teaching her how to build a legacy, how to turn athletic ability into something that outlasts your playing career, how to become bigger than the game itself. Inside those private sessions, they weren't talking about golf mechanics. They were deep into business strategy, crossover marketing, long-term brand building. Jordan looked at Clark and saw what he saw in himself decades ago. Someone who could appeal to audiences far beyond their primary sport. And it wasn't just Jordan in those conversations. Nike executives were right there in the room. They were mapping out deals, discussing player edition products, strategizing cross-promotions. This was about turning raw talent into generational wealth. Jordan made it crystal clear. Real superstars aren't confined by their sport. They elevate entire industries. And if you have genuine star power, you can lift up everyone around you. Clark absorbed every word. She asked questions. She took notes. She understood that this invitation was more than just a friendly golf outing. This was the ultimate stamp of approval from the man who literally wrote the playbook on athletic branding. Jordan doesn't waste time with people who won't commit fully. He saw that same fire burning in Clark on the golf course that makes her so unstoppable on the basketball court. She was precise, focused, treating every shot like it mattered, because to her, everything matters. This wasn't a vacation. This was a masterclass. And everything she learned at Grove 23 became the foundation for what was about to unfold at Pelican Golf Club just days later. Fast forward to the Annika Pro Am, and Clark didn't show up alone. She brought her Indiana Fever teammates Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall along for the ride. And let me tell you, these three turned a golf tournament into must-see television. The chemistry was off the charts. Sophie and Lexi weren't just there to carry clubs and look pretty. They brought their full personalities, their humor, their energy. That same bond they share on the basketball court translated perfectly to the fairway. And the Golf Channel knew they had something special on their hands. They don't normally do live coverage for Pro-Am events, but they made an exception because they could feel the momentum building. The commentators couldn't stop talking about the dynamic between these Fever players. Sophie Cunningham absolutely embraced her caddy role, cracking jokes about getting kicked out of the group, bringing a loose, fun energy that contrasted beautifully with the usually buttoned-up golf atmosphere. And then came the moment that went completely viral. Sophie accidentally hit a spectator with her drive. The entire crowd went silent. Cameras zoomed in. You could feel the tension shift from excitement to genuine concern. But Clark handled it perfectly. She called out, "Man down," turning what could have been an awkward disaster into comedy gold. The fan who got hit said it was totally worth it. Sophie fired back with, "Says your wife," and the entire gallery erupted. That moment captured everything people love about this group. They're real. They're unfiltered. They're having fun. But it wasn't all jokes and viral moments. Lexi Hall, who actually plays golf recreationally, brought legitimate knowledge to her caddy duties. She understood club selection. She could read greens. She gave Clark solid strategic advice throughout the round. And in the middle of all this, fans started shouting for Cunningham and Hall to re-sign with the Fever. Sophie's response, brutally honest, "Tell them to pay us." That one line cut through all the corporate speak and union negotiations. It highlighted exactly what's wrong with WNBA contracts. These women deserve salaries that reflect their value. And Sophie wasn't afraid to say it out loud on a live broadcast. That moment alone proved that Clark's impact extends beyond her individual talent. When she's surrounded by the right people, her star power multiplies. Now let's talk about the numbers, because this is where things get absolutely ridiculous. According to data tracked by GameBridge, there were almost 400 television segments that mentioned Caitlin Clark and the Annika tournament last year. On Pro-Am Day alone, there were nearly 2,700 posts on X about Clark playing in the event. Those posts generated almost 250,000 engagements and reached 18 million people. 18 million. For context, most LPGA Pro-Am events barely register a blip on social media. But Clark's presence transformed this into a cultural moment. The tournament's Instagram account saw a nearly 600% increase in views compared to the previous year. The tournament website traffic jumped 121%. These aren't minor bumps. These numbers represent an entirely new audience discovering the LPGA because Caitlin Clark was there. But here's the stat that really tells the story. Attendance at Pelican Golf Club surged by an estimated 1,200% compared to previous Pro-Am events. Think about that for a second. 1,200%. Normal Pro-Am rounds draw polite, quiet crowds. Clark turned the atmosphere into something you'd see at a college basketball tournament. Fans were screaming her name from tee to green. They were chanting MVP during her putts. Security had to bring in additional personnel just to manage the crowds. Parking lots were completely full hours before tee time. Merchandise stands sold out of everything Clark-related by noon. The pro shop had never experienced demand like this for any single player. Fans were climbing trees to get better views. The galleries followed her with the same intensity you see when Tiger Woods is in contention on a Sunday. And this is where the contrast becomes painful for the WNBA. They spent 2 full years treating Caitlin Clark like an inconvenience, letting opponents rough her up, allowing referees to look the other way when she got hacked and fouled without consequences, acting embarrassed by their own brightest star. Meanwhile, the LPGA took one look at what they had and went all in. They promoted the event like their lives depended on it. Special merchandise, autograph sessions, prime tee times paired with popular golfers. They gave Clark the full Tiger Woods treatment because they understood her value. Golf Channel commentators were shockingly direct about it. They openly criticized how the WNBA wasted Clark's appeal. They talked about the league's failure to protect her from unnecessarily rough play. They pointed out how the WNBA seemed uncomfortable having a star bigger than the league itself. The LPGA set up autograph zones, extended TV coverage, special programming. The production quality felt like a major championship. They had cameras capturing every shot Clark took, every interaction with fans, every moment of celebration. They treated this Pro-Am like it was the final round of the U.S. Women's Open because they recognized the opportunity in front of them. And then came the moment everyone will remember. The signature shot that proved Caitlin Clark's talent isn't limited to basketball. The 10th hole at Pelican Golf Club. Clark lined up a 35-foot putt from the logo. The crowd was packed around the green. People were literally in trees trying to get a better angle. This wasn't just any putt. This was Clark's chance to show the world that her touch, her feel, her competitive instinct translates across sports. The distance alone made it incredibly difficult. Add in the slope of the green, and even professional golfers miss putts like this all the time. Clark took her time reading the line. She crouched behind the ball, studying it from multiple angles. Lexi offered her input as the caddy. The crowd noise dropped to complete silence. Camera operators got into position. Commentators were holding their breath, ready for either celebration or disappointment. And then Clark stroked it. The ball rolled across the green with perfect pace. You could see the exact moment when everyone realized it had a legitimate chance. The volume started building. Phones came out everywhere. Clark walked alongside the ball, following its path. And when it dropped, absolute pandemonium. The roar was deafening, the kind of sound you only hear during March Madness. Clark threw her arms up in celebration. Sophie and Lexi rushed over for a group hug. The crowd completely lost it. Strangers were high-fiving each other. People were jumping up and down. The celebration lasted several minutes, while replays showed the perfect roll, the perfect pace, the perfect result from every conceivable angle. Social media immediately exploded with comparisons to Tiger Woods' most iconic putts. But here's what made the moment even more impressive. Clark was playing through injuries that had shortened her WNBA season, an ear injury that affected her balance, ankle problems that limited her mobility during the playoffs. Yet here she was, moving freely across the golf course, looking healthier and more confident than she had in months. That putt became more than just a great golf shot. It became proof that elite athletes can dominate in multiple sports when given the proper opportunity and respect. Basketball fans who'd never watched a minute of golf were sharing clips. Golf fans were asking when Clark might play in more LPGA events. The moment symbolized everything Clark represents: versatility, competitiveness, the ability to rise to any challenge. So here's what it all comes down to. Caitlin Clark just gave every professional sports league a blueprint for success. She showed them how to turn one exceptional athlete into a movement that elevates everyone. Her day at the Annika Pro-Am proved that crossover stars create massive opportunities for entire leagues when those leagues are smart enough to recognize and embrace that potential. The LPGA understood her value immediately. They gave her the platform she deserved. They promoted her aggressively. They protected her experience. And they got rewarded with unprecedented attention, record-breaking viewership, and thousands of new fans discovering their sport. Meanwhile, the WNBA continues stumbling around, seemingly insecure about having a star bigger than their league. The contrast couldn't be more obvious or more painful. One league rolled out the red carpet and shattered every attendance record. The other league spent 2 years treating their most valuable asset like a problem that needed managing. One league understood that rising tides lift all boats. The other seemed uncomfortable with anyone shining too brightly. Clark's golf success proves she's ready for whatever comes next. Her injuries are behind her. Her brand has grown far beyond basketball. Her crossover appeal has been validated with undeniable numbers. If the WNBA has any business sense at all, they'll study the LPGA's playbook and start treating Caitlin Clark like the icon she clearly is. She just delivered a masterclass in what happens when you embrace your superstars instead of resenting them. The LPGA understood the assignment perfectly. The WNBA continues failing spectacularly. That 35-foot putt was incredible, but those record-breaking numbers tell the real story. Caitlin Clark isn't just changing basketball. She's changing the entire landscape of women's sports. And any league smart enough to recognize that is about to benefit massively.